Okay, for my initial test, I've taken the Chantal double griddle and put it on the top of my ridge burner on my GE induction oven at medium heat. And I just wanted to bring some water up to a boil to see what sections heated up and what the heat differential was across the griddle. So I'm going to measure it here with my infrared thermometer. It's just at the point of boiling, and let's see what we have. Okay, in the middle of the front burner we have 202 degrees. If we move it over to the side, it drops off to 186 along the edge of the bubbles there, 191 on the other side. You get over to the edge here, it drops off all the way to 120 degrees. Over here in the front corner, it's 161. It's fluctuating between 150 and 160. Over in this corner, it is 154. Over in the middle bridge section, there's actually an induction element here. That's measuring 167, 168. On the back burner over the center, it's measuring 199, 200. Over on the edge of the bubble pattern, it's 188, 185. Over in the back corner, we have 165, 169, 166, 167. So it really doesn't get particularly high marks for even distribution of the heat. Not a fault of the pan, but rather a fault of the coverage of the elements on the induction stovetop. One thing I will say about the induction stovetop is how consistently it holds the temperature. It's been sitting here just bubbling away now for a few minutes, and the temperature has stayed constant right around 102 degrees. Not quite measuring to the point of boiling or having a vigorous boil. So let me turn it up a notch to one notch past medium here on the stove, and we'll see what happens. This is the control panel of the stove. And now, and when I just move it up that one additional notch on the heat, you can see it's beginning to vigorously boil. Now the center pattern is measuring right at 209, 11 degrees. Same thing with the back, 211. The sides are now 199 across. This one's only 184. Same thing here. This is 187 and 200. The center where the bridge element is 175. In the center, 162 on the left side and 165 on the right side. So this test at least shows me where the most concentrated areas of heat are and where I can move the food to a less hot area of the grill as it cooks, which is, not a bad thing to have different areas of temperature on the grill. You don't want everything, hot. You want to have some things, different stages as you cook the food. So this has been very informative. I ordered the griddle pan from Amazon. It came in about 4 days, and it came packaged in a very heavy-duty tri-ply cardboard carton, well packaged internally inside of a second Amazon box. Has a 3-ply piece of cardboard on the lid, so there was absolutely no shipping damage. It came with this label applied to the top of the griddle with some sticky adhesive, which is always annoying, but I was able to remove that with some Goo Gone, and then I washed the pan with Dawn dishwashing soap before using it. What's interesting is that it appears in this picture here, this is a earlier version of the GE Induction range top. So it is designed for it. Now I also opted for the stainless steel version rather than the ceramic coated version because I figured over the long haul it would be easier to maintain. All right, we're ready for the inaugural cooking on our new Chantal stainless steel tri-ply griddle, stovetop griddle, ideal for induction. And just by coincidence today, Chef Jean Pierre, one of my favorite YouTube channels, posted a recipe on making his version of smash burgers. So I decided to try it and compare it to the way that I normally make it, which is only a slight variation. What he suggested for his version of smash burgers is rather than smash them on the grill, to pre-smash them between 2 sheets of parchment paper. So that's what I'm going to try here. All right, so I'm going to take my 3-ounce patty of beef and put it between 2 sheets of parchment paper as he suggested. Turn this over this way here, and then I'm going to use this stainless steel bowl to smash it down into a nice flat patty. I'll move that aside, and then I will do the second one for the top. There we go. Put it on the patty on there, and these patties I have put a little bit of chopped onion and some Montreal seasoning and some Worcestershire sauce. So here we have the 2 patties, Chef Pierre style. Now what I would normally do is just take the same patties and use a silicone ring for, this is used for cooking eggs usually. Okay, so what I would normally do is just form the patties this size with this silicone ring, then cook one side on the grill or grill pan, and then smash them just before turning. So we'll compare the 2 methods and see what happens. Okay, I've also prepared in advance some home fries, frozen home fries in my Philips air fryer. Okay, what I have on the burner is on the left is my Chantal grill pan, stainless steel. And then on the right here I have a Viking 3-ply skillet, which I found at TJ Maxx for about $40, quite a bargain I think. And the way I normally prepare my stainless steel pans before cooking while they're cold, I just put a couple drops of avocado oil on and use a paper towel and just use a very, very thin layer of avocado oil to seal the pores of the pan. I've done that several times. I use this several times. This has a little, this lies pretty flat. It tends to flatten out when it heats up a little bit. Now I'm going to do the same thing with my grill pan. Here, this is the first time that I have ever used this for cooking with seasoning. So I will apply it along the bottom and the edges. That there was a slight scratch mark from cleaning. So we'll take that, and then again you just want a very thin film So I wipe off all the excess so there isn't anything on there to burn afterwards. Okay, so now I am going to put both of these on medium heat, which I find is a good temperature for grilling onions. And we'll let them preheat slowly. Okay, we'll check with the water test. It's beating up nicely in this pan here, so I'm going to put some of my onions and get those started here. I'll put most in there. Save the remainder for my flat top over here, my griddle. We'll check the temperature here. That's still remarkably only 120 degrees, so I'm going to turn this up a notch. See if we can get this up to temperature. Alright, I'm getting a good cook on the onions already here in the vacuum frying pan, while still waiting for the griddle here to come up to temperature. Now it's up to 150. Feel the heat from it a little bit. Now there is some sticking on the bottom here, a little bit browning on the skillet, but I plan to deglaze it with some white wine, so I don't mind a bit of fond starting on the pan there. Okay, this isn't quite up to temp here yet, but I'm going to put my onions on the back of my griddle. There we go. Now for my burgers before cooking, I am going to add a little more avocado oil and spread it out so I don't get the stick. I'm getting a little bit of steam. So now, because the Jean Pierre burgers are going to cook faster, I'm going to use those on those on first. A little bit of browning and the onions there. Too much. I turned the burner down on the frying pan a little bit because it was getting a little bit too hot. It's now about a notch and a half under medium. Getting a nice browning on the patties there, Jean Pierre style. A little bit of salt. Okay. Put my burger over here. I'm getting some sticking here to the griddle, but not bad. Take my cheddar cheese and put it on top there. Over here, and add a little bit of white wine to deglaze the pan, get the fond up. You can see when the trick when you use stainless steel, if you haven't before, is just a little bit of moisture, either water or wine or chicken stock or beef stock, while you're cooking your vegetables, will get all of that delicious fond up off the pan here. At this point, I shall add some butter over here. And then, now over here, I'm going to put this burger on top of that one. Just complete the smash, and I'm going to move it over to the center section there. Now, I've got quite a bit of sticking, but I can get it up with my spatula and over to the corner and out onto parchment paper. Raising on my onions, get some butter on those. And now we're ready to grill my burgers. Okay, these grilled onions are done. So I'll take them and transfer them off the griddle. Off a little bit. Start my second batch of burgers on the back. Turn off. Side, just touch the side of the griddle and it does get quite hot. Let me measure the temperature here. 394 degrees, so I can turn that down a bit. Now what I said I did differently than Jean Pierre for my smash burgers is I wait till they're on the grill and cook on the bottom before I smash them and then flip them. I think this is the more traditional burger joint style of cooking smash burger. And as with the other ones, I'll add the cheese. the bottom. Now with this range here, there's a separate knob to control the bridge section. The front and the back burners you can turn on independently. Well, this does both of them, so that's why I want to keep the food over both burners, so you don't have an area of the grill that doesn't have anything on it. So that's something you need to keep in mind if you use one of these on an induction stove. So that's pretty much it for the cook, so let's plate it up, test the results. All right, so I've taken the ciabatta rolls and put them in the toaster rather than trying to do them on the grill. Put sauce on both sides. Here. Spread it out with my little spatula. My theory is these things were designed for spreading cream cheese on bagels at New York delis. But I may be wrong about that. All right, so then what you want to do is put your lettuce on the bottom of the bun, because putting the lettuce on the bottom, that prevents all the juices from making the bottom soggy. Jean Pierre does the same thing. Now I'm going to take Jean Pierre style burger here and place it here, and my version of the smash burger and place it here. Now you can see that this is thicker, this is thinner, and it doesn't appear as juicy. That may be because, in all fairness, I might have overcooked it a bit. Put some grilled onions on top from both. And there you have it, the initial run of the Chantal grill pan. This is what the aftermath on the stove looks like. What's my evaluation? Well, I really like the grill pan for the convenience of turning and manipulating things. But, you know, frying pans work just as well, skillets work just as well. And as I saw in the heating them up, is the skillet got up to temperature more, but that's probably a learning curve of knowing how to adjust the skillet. So all in all, I think it's a keeper and a great addition to my induction stovetop here. And the reason I'm doing this video is because I really didn't see a lot of reviews of stainless steel stovetop griddles for induction. Most of them are aluminum, and I didn't see any that particularly featured the Chantal, which it took me a while to find and decide to buy. So this one I bought from Amazon. It was $149. They also have a ceramic coated version for $179. It's very substantial, quite heavier than I expected. And if you have an induction cooktop with a bridge element like this, you know, I would recommend it. All right, finished dinner. So what about cleanup? Here I've already scraped the what I could with the spatula here. You know, got it clean, wiped it down with a paper towel. So now I'm just going to put a little bit of water on it. It's cooled down considerably, and then. And a trick I've learned to remove rust from the shaft of my golf clubs is you just wad up a piece of aluminum foil, because that will not, it's abrasive, but it will not scratch. And you can see here that I've managed to lift off all the stuff that's stuck on quite readily. A little bit of elbow grease, and then it's just a matter of, you know, soap and water and clean it up. So, you know, people who are afraid of stainless steel because they think the food is going to stick or it is, you know, too hard to clean, you know, the trick is simply not to use it on really, really high heat past the smoking point of oil. Use high smoke point oils, and then just let it cool down, soak it with a little bit of water if things are stuck on, and just use a aluminum, or you can use a copper. I've got a copper scrub pad that I use. I don't like that as well because it tends to come apart and come down the disposal. But you can see with very little effort here, you know, I'm getting that clean. Then it's just a matter of going through and a little bit of soap and water with Dawn detergent, and we're done. So, you know, high marks. How were the burgers? Well, you know, the ones that I used with my method turned out juicier than the Jean Pierre ones, but I think that was a difference between the thickness and the cook time. Mine were a little bit more on the medium rare side. The ones I cooked thinner were more well done, more like you would get at a fast food restaurant. Taste-wise, I actually preferred the Jean Pierre method, so I think in the future, for smash burgers anyway, you know, I'm going to adopt his technique of pre-smashing it thinner before I cook it. If I'm just using a traditional burger that doesn't have the cheese in the middle, you know, I'll probably continue doing it the way I do it, and there you go. So I hope you found this review valuable. It was more a review of the pan than like a cooking episode, but I just wanted to take the opportunity to do that, and hope you find some value in it. All right, one final note. Something I didn't mention before is that you notice that the handles are unusual for griddle. They're on offset on opposite sides. That is actually a really nice feature for handling the grill, and it also has a little grease pour spout in one corner, and the offset handles makes it really easy to manipulate. The other thing is, you know, you were saying, well, you know, where the heck am I going to store that thing? Well, in our case, we designed the kitchen as an L shape, and we have our GE Cafe microwave sitting in the corner under the corner cabinet, and the grill fits up there ideally under the cabinet for storage, perfectly out of the way and ready to just slide onto the range top when needed.